Hello lovely people, my name is Emma and today I'm bringing you some fact and fiction pairings for various time periods within art history. So I have 4 books to talk about today, 2 fiction and 2 non-fiction, that neatly do pair up nicely looking at various different movements within art history. The first one I'm going to be talking about is books that focus on the pre-Raphaelites. The pre-Raphaelites are considered to be some of the dawnings of modern art as we know it, and were making work within the Victorian era. Their most well-known characters include Rossetti, Holman Hunt, William Morris, who went on to do a lot of work in furniture, and generally quite a few poets as well within there. The non-fiction book I want to recommend is Desperate Romantics by Franny Moyle. This is really looking at the private lives of the pre-Raphaelites because they really were the rock stars of their day and had many torrid and scandalous love affairs as well. So this book not only looks at their work and how influential it was, but also their private lives and their interactions with people like the press. This has actually been turned into a BBC miniseries, which is absolutely fantastic. It was on sometime in the kind of early 2000s, and I totally recommend going and checking it out if you can as well, because it will really bring them to life. And if you want to see them brought to life in another way, then you definitely need to pick up The Doll Factory by Elizabeth Macneal. This is a historical fiction, naturally, looking at a young lady who desperately wants to learn how to be an artist and ends up falling in with the pre-Raphaelite crowd and is one of their models. Now, being a model in the Victorian era was very scandalous. It is akin to being a prostitute, and no respectable woman did it. But our main character has very few options available to her because she's poor, and she desperately wants the tutoring and then potential subsequent romance with the, I believe, fake pre-Raphaelite who is in this. I don't believe he's actually a real character. However, there's something a little bit more nefarious going on with this. There is some kind of slight thriller aspect to there. I don't want to say too much more than that because I don't want to spoil it, but it's a really wonderful dive into, again, the private lives of these really radical artists of their time. If we want to move things forward to a more modern context, then the fiction I want to talk about is The Museum of Modern Love by Heather Rose. This is a novel inspired by the artist Marina Abramovic. Marina Abramovic is a real-life artist who does a lot of work in performance art, and her pieces are really about holding a lens up to society. The book itself focuses on one of her pieces where she spent for like several months. Each day she was sat in a chair in an art gallery in, I believe, the MoMA in New York, and people could come and sit opposite her for as long as they wanted, but they weren't allowed to say anything. They just had to maintain eye contact. And this just absolutely blew up and was completely everywhere. Everyone was completely fascinated by it. This book is a fictional account of some of the characters who would like come and meet her and the ripple effect it's had in their lives, as well as a kind of expose on Marina Abramovic's life in general. Now, if you're thinking like, that sounds really weird and what the hell is up with modern art these days, and maybe thinking, what on earth are you looking at? Maybe you need the book. What on earth are you looking at? 150 Years of Modern Art in the Blink of an Eye by Will Gompertz. I do actually have a separate review video for this particular book, which I'll link down below, but this is really, as the title suggests, a sweeping look at modern art stemming from the pre-Raphaelites that we were talking about a second ago all the way up to modern day within whenever it was written. So if you are looking at some of the more performance art pieces, especially maybe things like Damien Hirst's infamous Formaldehyde Shark and some of the frankly freaky and weird stuff that is out there in the art world, Duchamp's Fountain for example, and some of the found items, and thinking like, what on earth is this? This isn't art. What are people so psyched about? Maybe this is the book for you. This really helps to give you a framework and a real like cultural and social understanding of various different art movements and how reactionary they are to each other, and the reasons why things were considered revolutionary in their time. Now, I would recommend, if you are reading this book, it's going to take you a little while because there's a lot of names, dates and various titles and things in this, and it's probably helpful to have Google Images up in the background so that you can quickly search the various different pieces of art listed, because it is very thin on the ground on like actual images of the artwork, and there are a hell of a lot mentioned in 150 years. I do think Will Gompertz is a wonderful writer though, and this is relatively easygoing if you're not somebody who reads a lot of non-fiction, and is definitely like an excellent starting point if you're relatively new to the art world. So there you have it. There is an overly specific book recommendation for fiction and non-fiction pairings within art history. Who said I wasn't niche on this channel, hey? What do you think to these books? Do you have any other recommendations for art history books I should read? I'm specifically looking for some fiction recommendations because I have another few books that I want to do another video like this for as soon as I've got through them, but I'm missing some of the fiction counterparts for them. So if you have any recommendations of fiction that is focused on art, please do let me know. Also, I just really enjoy reading it. Have a wonderful reading week, and I'll chat to you soon. Bye!